like that. Woo!
What's good, everybody? Welcome to the Pull Up Show. My name is BJ Matthews, aka B Shizzle. Before we get started, follow us on the YouTube page, the Pull Up Basketball Podcast, Spotify, iHeartRadio, Twitter, TikTok, the Pull Up Basketball Podcast. Like, share, subscribe. All of our YouTube videos, you know what I'm saying? Hit that notification bell, buy a subscribe button. You know what I'm saying? Get all the notifications out there. Let's get it popping. All right, y'all know the drill, how it goes. You know what I'm saying? Wipe your feet before you enter this house. You know what I mean? And get the notification out, the like buttons, comment, share. We're NBA playoff basketball, baby. We are talking about NBA hoops all month. You know what I'm saying? I love this. Is my favorite time of the year. Of course, y'all know the NBA playoffs has been great. I'm very happy and very pleased with the product they've been putting out there. Matchups, heartbreaks, celebration, disappointments, success. You know what I mean? I love it all, man. This is the NBA playoffs. Is what it's about. Okay, we in the NBA conference finals. Just kicked off last night with the Miami Heat and as well as the Boston Celtics, right? So what do I have to say about this, right? Excuse me. The Miami Heat and the Boston Celtics faced off last night. With Miami prevailing, I believe with the score. Let me get their score correct. I don't want to lead y'all astray. 1 second. Let me get the score correct. 118 to 107. Miami Heat was able to prevail by 11 points last night. And very intense game from start to finish. You know what I'm saying? Very high defensive game between the teams, Boston Celtics and Miami Heat, like we were expected. Two of the top defensive teams in the NBA. Great game all around, right? So, I did a live last night and I talked about the game entirety, what I felt like, both teams did, why Miami won and Boston lost. If y'all have not seen that stream, go ahead and go back to my videos and check that out. And, you can get your information there. But I want to talk about a subject that I thought about, quite some time. And, it's funny how, life works. It's funny how, the NBA works, that you can have a situation where something that could be pondering in your head for even like a number of years or, a year, 2 years, 3 years. And you kind of like get an idea like, okay, well, this kind of is starting to happen, why it's falling into place how it is. And it's just the right timing. I had thought about this and I said, you know what, this is the perfect time to do the video to kind of, highlight my point of my belief. I've touched on it before in the past, but it's a time to really, put the nails in the bolt to really kind of, drill it in and make the audience, kind of see the point that I've been talking about between this situation, this topic. And what I'm talking about is Jimmy Butler and Kawhi Leonard. Now, last night, Jimmy Butler had a great, unbelievable performance. Wasn't unbelievable because he's done it before. He had 41 points, 9 rebounds, 5 assists, 4 steals, and 3 blocks. So he had a fully complete game, very efficient from the field, shooting 13 for 19 from the 2-point line, 17 for 18 from the free throw line. So he had a pretty much all-around great game. And the team got the win. That was the most important part. And it's just gonna happen. You at certain times you're gonna compare certain players. You're gonna compare similarities and differences between the two. That's just the name of the game. That's barbershop talk, analytical talk, podcast talk. You're going to compare players, right? It can be present, past, future. You're going to side by side put players next to each other. Now, Jimmy Butler to me is very, very similar to Kawhi Leonard. Now, before y'all get up in y'all comments and talking about, what are you talking about? Jimmy Butler, yeah. I want y'all to hear what I'm saying. I want y'all to hear the video, the next 20 to 25 minutes where I'm going to do my analytical process, and I'm going to let y'all in the comments and let y'all talk. If y'all want to come here and talk what y'all got to say, if y'all agree or disagree, it's all good. Y'all know how I am. I love to hear everybody's people's opinions. But this is what I'm saying on my side. Okay. Jimmy Butler resembles Kawhi Leonard. Okay. Now, I'm not saying Jimmy Butler is better than Kawhi Leonard. No, I'm not. By any means, any stretch, any necessary. I'm not saying Jimmy Butler is better than Kawhi Leonard. Kawhi Leonard is a two-time NBA champion, a two-time Finals MVP, a two-time Defensive Player of the Year. Arguably, he could put him as a top 3 player in the NBA when healthy. Or, in my opinion, this is just me, he's the best player in the NBA when healthy. Give me Kawhi Leonard. I've said this many times. Give me him over Kevin Durant. Give me him over LeBron. Give me him over Steph Curry. Give me over Nikola Jokic, Joel Embiid, Luka Doncic. I don't care who it is. You give me Kawhi Leonard healthy in the playoffs, I'm taking him over anybody. That's just me. But we're talking about Jimmy Butler, giving him praise and props. There's certain things when I watch Jimmy Butler, I noticed that there's just like I see a lot of things that I see in Kawhi Leonard the same way. And I'm going to go through a list of things of why I feel they're so similar. And I see that there's more similarities and differences because nobody wants to bring this up as a topic. Nobody wants to talk about, first of all, Jimmy Butler and Kawhi Leonard are not even heavily in the media. So for whatever reason, they don't get a lot of media coverage. So this is my day to give them or give Jimmy Butler more so the praise, but also talk about Kawhi at the same time of why I feel like they're very similar. So here we go. First of all, we got to talk about how they came into the league. Jimmy Butler coming in as a first round draft pick, the 30th pick, the last pick in the draft. And then Kawhi Leonard coming in as a first round 15th pick. They weren't lottery picks. So they weren't guys that, came in, had all the clout, lottery picks were talked about very heavily within, the NBA scouting and all that stuff. They were guys that were, draft picks, NBA players made in the first round, but they weren't the cream of the crop. They both went to mid-major schools. Jimmy Butler went to Marquette, and then Kawhi Leonard in Wisconsin, and Kawhi Leonard went to San Diego State out here in San Diego. They're both mid-major schools. They didn't go to a Pac-10 or a Big Ten or a very big school. So that's just one thing right there. I think the story with Jimmy Butler is he only had that one Division One offer by Marquette, and what he had to do, he went to a local McDonald's and faxed in his paperwork from a junior college, his transfer paperwork, and that's how he's able to get in at the last minute in that year with Marquette. But Jimmy Butler wasn't highly recruited like that. Kawhi Leonard, I think he got more recruitment out of high school. But even with him, he went to a mid-major school. He chose to go to a mid-major school rather than going to a UCLA or USC or Oregon or one of the big Pac-10 schools, Arizona. He chose to go to San Diego State. So that makeup right there means you have an underdog mentality that you have to get out the mud and really have to prove yourself. That's what both these two have in common. Okay. Like I said, they were first round draft picks, but they were like between the 15th and 30th pick. So they already came into the league with a chip on their shoulder. Okay. They came into the league with a chip on their shoulder. That's how you came into the league with Jimmy Butler and Kawhi Leonard. Right. Now, if I talk about, another thing, the measurements between these two. Jimmy Butler's 6'6", I believe 215. I think Kawhi Leonard is 6'7", 230. Okay, they're both very similar as far as the metrics. Salute, bro. Jimmy's playing out of his mind, and as a two-way player, this playoffs, he's reminding me of Kawhi as well. Okay, my man, Little Rock. You know what I'm saying? All love, man. Appreciate that comment, man. Continue to hit that like button, my man. I appreciate all y'all that coming through my channel and subscribe. But my channel would not be here without y'all, and I always appreciate what y'all do. But going back to my point, the measurements. Jimmy Butler and Kawhi Leonard are very, very similar in size. Length. They're very built similar. They're very they're strong, but they also are very they have like they have a not a slim frame, but they have a very cut frame. Okay? They both stay in great shape. For you to be a two-way player like how these two players are, you have to be in great shape. That's very hard to play both ways at an elite level. Kawhi Leonard, Jimmy Butler, again, measurements, they stay in shape. They take care of their bodies. Very strong. You can't really move them as far as, other players. Like if you notice when you watch them play, there's nobody really moving these two when they're guarding them. So that just tells me that their bodies are very very toned for for basketball. Okay, I know people gonna say, well, Kawhi gets hurt a lot, man. Kawhi, like I've told y'all before in the past, he's only had two major injuries. He's had the quad injury in San Antonio, and then of course his ACL injury. But you don't just see Kawhi Leonard just has had all these knickknacks where his body is not in peak condition. Like Kawhi Leonard's in peak condition when it comes to basketball. Same as Jimmy Butler. Jimmy Butler, I would say, is even more in peak condition because he doesn't have degenerate knee like the Kawhi Leonard does. You know what I mean? My man Rick, my man, that's my boy, that's my partner, man. Y'all show my boy Rick love. Um, my man who does all of the stuff we know with the podcast to make it where it is, man. I always appreciate you, brother. Um, but Jimmy, like I said, man, very, very similar to Kawhi. Very similar. As far as the measurements, how they came to, as far as their size and things of that nature. Now, let's talk about how they came up, bro. These two guys were defensive minded at first. Let me just make sure I change this up. Um, in the league, they weren't offensive gurus. Like they weren't guys that, came into the league with all this offensive, firepower. Like they were focused, their role on their team was to play D and to lock up. Their whole thing was to play D and to lock up. That was their whole mindset. That was their role for their teams. You saw it with Kawhi Leonard in San Antonio. When they won that championship, I think he averaged I want to say around 15 points that entire playoffs. Okay, so they weren't averaging 20, 25 points like coming into the league. Jimmy Butler, career-wise, he's averaging 17 points. Kawhi's averaging 19. Now, you wouldn't know that if didn't know, like, if you look it up. But Kawhi and Jimmy Butler have not averaged a career over 20 points per game their entire career. That's why it's going to be very, very weird how we rank them when they retire, because they're not the type to really just have these spectacular numbers, high popping career wise. So that's because the first 3 seasons, 4 seasons, they were mostly focused on the defensive end. That's what Jimmy and Kawhi have in common. So that's why I say, like, okay, well, they're both defensive minded coming into the league first. Jimmy Butler when he was with Chicago, Kawhi Leonard when he was with San Antonio for the first stint of his career. But then what happened was they improved their offensive game. Now, these past, I would say about uh, at least 5 years, at least. I'm gonna go about 6, 7 years. These two have averaged over 20 points per game, um, around 20 points per game these last 5 to 6 years. And you look at their game, they have it all. They can post up. They have the post up game with Kawhi and PG, or Kawhi and Jimmy Butler. They can shoot over their right shoulder, the left shoulder. They can back you down and overpower you in the post. They can pump fake, get you out and up in the air and draw fouls. They've improved their post game. Very, very, very important skill to have as a wing player. Okay, and they're very, very mechanical with their skills, with their skill set, their handles. Kawhi, you didn't really see Kawhi put the ball on the floor like he does now. Now Kawhi has an elite handle. With them big hands that he got, them long arms, it makes it even easier for him to handle the ball. Right? Kawhi Leonard's handle has gotten great. I think this happened around 2016 where he, started working more on his dribble and stuff like that, his one-on-one moves. Same thing with Jimmy Butler. You know what I'm saying? They call him Jimmy Buckets for a reason. He has big hands. He can dribble the ball as well. Very mechanical, very, very tight handles, not flashy, but they get to their spots. That's their improved skill work with their handle that they call it what's that word? I can't even think of the word, but string work. That's what they call it, string work that these two have. You know what I mean? All right, brother, gotta go, man. Love cooking, man. I'll see you this weekend, man. Love. But like I said, they handles has gotten, very good to elite. Look at, of course, their mid-range game, man. That's the big thing. Their mid-range game, how they operate in the mid-range. And I tell y'all this all the time. The great players have a mid-range game. All the great scorers have a mid-range game. You go back from Jordan to Kobe to KD to Kawhi to right now you got Devin Booker, Chris Paul, CJ McCollum, Jimmy Butler, um, these big wings, I'm saying from 6'3" to like 6'6", 6'7", they have a mid-range game, right? You want to be able to operate on all three tiers. These two guys can do that. They can operate by getting to the basket. They can operate in the mid-range, and they can also shoot three-pointers. They don't take a lot of threes. There's another similarity about them. They don't take a lot of three-point shots, but they can, by God, they can hit the three-point shot for sure. It's just they're very, very efficient as far as how they choose to shoot the ball. They don't make a lot of errors. Keep hitting that like button, y'all. They don't make a lot of errors. I noticed that when watching them play, they don't turn the ball over a lot. They take their time. They're very mechanical in their movements and get into their spots. Not in a rush. You know what I mean? So that very well plays into it. So when you put all those two together, two guys that came in with great to elite defense and have an improved offensive game, which has reached to a great to elite status, you have an elite two-way player. And that's what they are now. They're elite two-way players. You got two guys, and this is what defines the best player in the world to me. Can you play both ways? We've seen Kawhi Leonard do it, a majority of his career where he'll give you a 45-yard or revert back to game 6 in Dallas last year, right? When they placed Dallas Mavericks in a closeout game. If they lost, they would have went home. Kawhi Leonard, having that performance that he had, scored 45 points, but he also was stopping Luka Doncic on the other end where he's inefficient. That takes a lot of energy. That takes a lot of focus, determination, and willpower. And that's what Kawhi Leonard did. I saw the same thing with Jimmy Butler last night. He had 41 points. He had 9 rebounds. He had 5 assists. He had four steals and 3 blocks. And the steals that he had were very, very key. I think he stripped Robert Williams from behind, and in 2 separate plays, the same place he stripped the big man at the high post. You know what I'm saying? So he's able to be alert on defense and passing lanes as well as, on ball, where he's a very, very impactful player. But here he comes on the offensive end, drawing fouls, getting to line 18 times, hitting mid-range shots, getting to his spots. And he did it, and he was overpowering Jason Tatum. Jason Tatum had it going in the first half, and then here comes Miami in the second half. Jimmy Butler said no more. So he takes the challenge. I tell you, I listen to those press conferences a lot, too, to kind of see where these players' heads at. And Jimmy Butler pretty much said, that's why I came into the series kind of thinking that he's going to take the challenge at Jason Tatum. He's going to test Jason Tatum to see if he's built for these type of battles and these wars. Because Jimmy Butler, he's definitely war ready. He's definitely earned his stripes. So, like, again, Kawhi, Jimmy are very, very similar. This goes to my next one, killer mentality. Very, very similar with their killer mentality. It's not just the skill set that reminds me of Jimmy Butler and Kawhi Leonard. When you see these guys have another player who is on the same level as them, or they feel like it's on the same level as them, there's certain guys who will hide from that challenge and not want to really, take upon that challenge. And there's guys like Kawhi and Jimmy Butler who are nothing but excited for challenges like that. You know what I mean? They want that challenge. They thrive off that challenge. They're not looking to their willpower. They're going to will their team in any way possible. And I'm gonna go to another similar. I got about 6, 7 similarities already. Kawhi and Jimmy Butler, they put winning over individual numbers. Okay, they put winning over individual numbers. They don't care if they score 40 points or 20 points. And this goes back to how they came into the league. Again, when you come into the league with an underdog mentality and you've already tasted what it feels like to be more on the role player side or not get all the glitz and glamour, it's easy for you to take a back seat for a night or, share the wealth with your teammates because you've already, what it's like to be on the other side. You weren't born with the keys in your hand. You didn't come into the draft with all this hype. So it's easy for you to come in with more of a humbleness to you. I see that in both these two. Both of these two put winning over individual numbers. I heard a bit last playoffs in the Utah series with Kawhi Leonard when he said, if I got it going, it's going to come to me. If PG got going, it's going to him. But if anybody else go into it, they're going to get the ball as well. You know what I'm saying? Jimmy Butler last night said, I can have 41 points, but if we lose, I'm going to be mad. So stuff like that you hear, you're putting winning over individual numbers, right? And also, and this is the biggest one, or I got a few more. This is all happening in the playoffs, man. Jimmy Butler and Kawhi Leonard turn into different players in the playoffs. Okay. Their numbers increase, their focus increases, their moments increase where they look at like, man, where did these two come from? Like, when you talk about Kawhi, you used to hear about LeBron and KD and Steph, and those are the guys that they put, and then you hear about with Jimmy Butler, you're hearing Luka Doncic, Jason Tatum, those guys, you know what I'm saying? Like everybody's overlooking these two in the most dire moments. They have to almost make you see who they really are, and that's why they turn to different people in the playoffs. They start busting up your favorite players on the court head to head, and you can't figure it out. I listened to sports shows this morning. They saying now Jimmy Butler is the best player in the playoffs. Guys like Stephen A. Smith and Skip Bayless, right? But you heard a lot of Jason Tatum, you heard a lot of Luka Doncic, you heard some Steph Curry, but now you put in Jimmy Butler in that company. Same thing with Kawhi Leonard. It was all LeBron, KD, and Steph. But then here comes this Kawhi kid who puts out the Golden State Warriors in 2019, who Kawhi put out LeBron James in 2014 finals. And it seems to me that he has actually a winning record against LeBron James. Y'all can go look this up. Kawhi Leonard has a winning record over LeBron James. You know what I mean? So they come to work and do their job, and that's it. They don't care about all that social media talk, and they come to work with their lunch pail and work harder than anybody else on the court or in the gym. This is what they do in the playoffs. They're built for these moments, right? And that stems from having a killer mentality. A killer mentality. What I just mentioned, these guys don't care who they're going up against. They have that mentality that no one's better than them. They have that mentality. Trust me. The only difference is Jimmy's more loud with it and Kawhi's quiet with it. But trust me, Kawhi has that same belief, that willpower, that determination to will his team in without any restraints. It's me and you in the trenches, and I'm gonna go up against you. I'm gonna win, right? I'm going up against you. This is gonna be this. I'm putting betting on myself. That's how these two are built, man. By their upbringing, by them coming into the league how they came in, being defensive minded guys, having to be more the guys to do the dirty work as well as having to improve their offense. They're like, man, I've already been through it all. So why would I put myself on a lower stage and a lower level than these other players who I feel like I'm just as good or not better than? So all in all, man, like I'm telling y'all, they're very, very similar. It's just, again, one guy is more brass and loud with it, and that's Jimmy Butler. And the other guy is more quiet, who will he'll talk trash to you if you talk to him first, or he might not even talk to you still. But I mean, he's more about his work. He lets his work do the talking. And I'm not saying Jimmy's better than Kawhi Leonard. He's not. Kawhi Leonard's a top 3 player when healthy, in my opinion, the best player. Jimmy Butler, to me, is a top 10 player at best. Okay, but as far as their playing style, their makeup, their measurements, their mentality, their skill set, how they came into the league, and I can go on and on and on and on. they're similar more than any two other players in the NBA. And it speaks volumes to why Kawhi Leonard chose to have wanted Jimmy Butler to be his running mate with the Clippers. I'm happy with Paul George. I love PG. I'm happy he's with the Clippers, but it's a reason why Kawhi chose to. He wanted to get Jimmy Butler on his team. It's a very, very understandable reason because um, you can see the makeup in another person who's kind of like you, who's just like you, made up just like you, built just like you. You can see it, and that's why Kawhi wanted Jimmy Butler on the Clippers. But Jimmy Butler, being who he is, rolls his own dice, beats on his own drum. He chose to, go to Miami, build his own team, and it was a match made in heaven, man. Because Miami's the exact right team for Jimmy Butler. Tough, no nonsense, hold people accountable, and come there and work hard. You know what I mean? Salute my guy Jordan. What y'all got in the comments. I'm about to put this in here. Y'all can, come in and chop it up with me, man. Um, but yeah, they're very similar as far as you just about every aspect. All right, so y'all want to come in here and cook with me a little bit? That's perfectly fine. Y'all know the drill. I'm gonna give y'all a few minutes. Come in here and cook. Jimmy got something I wish a lot of players have. He do. He got that it. He got that he got that willpower, man. Like it's just you just see it in certain players, like mano y mano, and just certain things that are just inside of you. Your values, your morals, your toughness. Those are things that are inside of you. You know what I mean? And that's what I mean with this comparison between the two. Certain people may not get it or not understand it or go over their heads, but I just went through like about 10 similarities to have on why I feel like they are the same. I feel like they're the same basketball player, man. You know what I mean? And to be quite honest with you, bro, Jimmy Butler, like I've always had, respect for his game, but he's grown on me quite a bit. Definitely, because I respect anybody that plays the game the right way. Jimmy Butler plays the game the right way. He plays hard. He plays within the team. He's tough as nails. He want him on your team as a teammate, and all he asks you to do is just come to work hard, play ball, and play within the team. All the teams he's had problems with is because of accountability and not working hard and being soft. That's why he was looked at as kind of like the bad locker room guy. But looking what he's doing with this Miami team, it kind of comes off as now it's like, okay, maybe he had a point that he probably was in the right. It's just like certain people took it wrong. You know what I mean? So um yeah. But that's all I got for y'all today. You know what I mean? I'm gonna go ahead and get up off here, man. I'll probably be back on tonight for the analysis of the Mavs and the Warriors. You know what I'm saying? Go and check in. But I want to just kind of drop this video, man, because this was really weighing on me, and this was something I feel like I need to really make a video on. So with that being said, y'all know what I'm saying, continue to follow us on the YouTube page, Spotify, Instagram. Twitter, TikTok, you know what I'm saying? iHeart Radio, you know what I'm saying? The Pull Up Basketball Podcast, pull up a seat, pull up a chair, pull out. Peace. Out like swimwear.